All right, so let's start off. Welcome everyone to another edition of our monthly recap for Dex223 with the man himself, the man behind the code, Dexaran, founder of Dex223. Hello, Dexaran.
Hello everyone. I would like to start with a small recap of what was done during the month, as usual. Or do you want to say some introductory words, Charles?
Absolutely. So first off, let's recap how the MA will go. We are here to cover the latest news about Dex223. Dexaran will give the latest announcements regarding the project. Afterwards, everyone will be welcome to ask your questions directly during the live stream. And if you have any questions, you're also welcome to leave them as a comment in the chat. Afterwards, you're also all welcome to join our Telegram group, Dex223. You can ask your questions there. We have gathered during the past month many community questions from you around the community in French, English, German. Wherever you are, we hear you, and we have your questions right here for Dexaran. So during the month afterwards, the AMA, you are welcome also to leave your questions in our Telegram groups, and we'll gather them there. You're welcome to start off, Dexaran, regarding the latest recaps for Dex223.
Okay, so mainly we are moving towards the testing phase. We were initially planning to start the public testing on 15th May, but as you can see, it's 2 weeks after that, and we are still not yet there. But the Dex223 contracts are deployed on Testnet. They are deployed to Sepolia testnet, Ethereum one, and BSC testnet, and EOS EVM, which is surprisingly easy. We expected that we will have much more problems with deploying on EOS EVM, but everything was quite smooth. And this is actually the third version of the Dex223 contract deployed on Sepolia testnet, but as I can see from transaction history, there was only one address that interacted with the previous test deployments from a person who doesn't belong to our team. So it was some outside collaborator. And this is actually the final testnet version for the prototype. We are still testing the UI internally, and it's taking a bit longer than expected. But I believe that we will announce the public testing this week or latest next week. So when we will proceed to testnet deployment and the announce of public testing, the codes will be reorganized. We will move all the repositories to Ethereum Commonwealth GitHub organization, where the source codes will be represented for everyone. We already have open source contracts, and the UI is partially open source, but it's a bit disorganized, and our goal is to make it as easy as possible to enable people to deploy the copies of Dex223 and watch the codes themselves and be able to interact with it however they like, without contacting the team and without doing that much of investigation of where the code is stored, where is the UI part, and what version of the contracts is currently on testnet. So we will be solving the problem of the source codes and GitHub organizations after the testnet deployment. The prototype will include only basic features, so it's actually creation of the pools, swapping tokens, and we will most likely distribute test tokens to everyone who bought the D223 tokens on our ICO. And we will also distribute tokens manually by request, or maybe we will create a faucet for automated distribution. I'm not sure, but we will definitely deliver the test tokens to everyone who has D223 tokens. After we will release the basic prototype, we will quickly proceed to auto listing contracts. It will not be included in the public testing at first, but this is not a big task, and I hope that it will be added a week later. So this is it for the testnet. This is our main goal. And currently the Dex223 is under internal testing. We are finalizing the UI, and the contracts are already deployed, and currently the code stored in Dex-dev repository is final for this version of the prototype. It will not be changed, but depending on the results of the testing, we will probably implement some gas optimizations, because when we will integrate the router, the gas advantages are diminishing. So we probably need to adjust the workflow of the contracts a little bit more. As I said in the previous recap, it is quite hard to support networks like Tron chain and others that rely on customized web libraries. So we will most likely announce public testing only for Sepolia testnet, and that's it. During this month, the concept of margin trading was finalized. It's quite a big milestone, and I wanted to discuss it a little bit during this recap session, but we decided that the margin trading will be discussed on the next recap, or we will have a separate recording for it, because it's quite big area, and there are a lot of technical details that needs to be explained, and we will most likely make some explanational videos when we will have it ready. But it's just a concept right now, and it's finalized. It needs to be done. It needs to be updated in the documentation, but we are ready to start the actual implementation. We have a basic version of the margin trading contracts already, but we will finalize it in the next month. We started the implementation of the margin trading UI. The screenshots will be attached to the written report that I will publish on 4th June, I think. And you can observe the workflow of how it will look like, how it will most likely work, and I will add some details there. We are preparing the documentation for translations. As I said earlier, we are going to support multiple languages in Dex223, and we need to update the white paper because it's quite outdated. At that moment it was written, it was the early stage, and right now we already have a system of working contracts. We already have some part of the UI ready and working, and we need to document it. But it's still not done. It's in the active stage. We have updated the ERC20 losses calculator script. It's not directly related to Dex223, but this helps us to spread the word about the problems that we are solving. So this was done. We are moving to finalize the token converter Ethereum improvement proposal. The converter received the update during the previous month. This month, it will be most likely pushed forward in the process of finalizing the EEP. EEP has some states. Currently, it's draft. It needs to be done. It needs to be pushed to review. It will be reviewed by the Ethereum EEP moderators. After that, it will remain for 2 weeks in last call. And if nobody will express any objections to finalize the EIP during the last call, it will be finalized. I think that we will finalize the token converter EIP next month, but the preparation was done during this one. And we are ready to move forwards with the EIP. The token converter is important for Dex223 because it's an integral part of it, and our smart contracts rely on token converter, and how it's implemented and if it's finalized is quite decisive for the exchange itself, because we need to finalize the token converter EIP before we will deploy Dex223 on Ethereum mainnet. So we kind of have to push it forward a little bit. So that's basically it for this month. I think if I need to repeat some general milestones, we are preparing to announce the public testing. Everything is almost ready, and the contracts are deployed a long time ago. They are already on 3 testnets, and we will announce the public testing on Chipotle Ethereum's testnet in the coming days. And we are preparing to start the implementation of the margin trading actually in smart contracts.
That's awesome. Perfect. I'm very much looking forward for the margin trading recap next month then. And so if anyone here wants to ask a question directly, you're welcome to raise your hand on the Twitter space to ask your questions directly to Dexaran. Also, you can post your questions in the comments of the Twitter space if you want directly. Well, we are also gathered many community questions from the community. We can start off with one of those, for example. So we've talked about the launch on the EOS EVM, and one question related to that was, could you solve the issues with the EVM limitations globally? How is your solution reflected in gas fees, and are there still significant benefits after over-engineering around this issue?
What problem of the EVM is highlighted in this question?
EVM limitations. The question just mentions EVM limitations globally.
Well, I would say that the EVM is a part of blockchain system. It's part of Ethereum blockchain or EOS blockchain that is responsible for executing the smart contract. So it's basically the thing that takes the bytecode and transforms it into a processor of code. The processor in your computer actually runs. And not in your computer, but on the computer that produces the block, miner or staker. So we kind of can't address any EVM problems ourselves. We are not responsible for the EVM development, but we can optimize our smart contracts to work smoothly with the EVM that currently exists. And the Ethereum virtual machine, its EVM, is quite weak in general. It can do some things that were good for 2018, not for 2024. And EOS EVM has great performance compared to Ethereum 1. I think it's like 2,000 times better. But we are dealing with EOS EVM. EOS EVM is a part of EOS virtual machines that can run Ethereum smart contracts, so that people don't have to rewrite the code and re-implement the decentralized applications to make them compatible with EOS. So we are addressing all the problems of EVM related to our smart contracts. And we had some problems in the past because our exchange is pushing the EVM to its limits. For example, if you want to trade some token for another token, you kind of have to specify what you want to give the contract, how much you expect to receive, what token you expect to receive, and the deadline of the transaction. in our case, we need to also feed it the standard of the token. So we need to add two variables to this location. The standard of the token that you want to give and the standard of the token that you want to receive. And for some reason, Ethereum virtual machine can handle it. Like it can actually accept more than 9 function variables. And this is its limitation. And yes, we can address it. We can implement some tricky workflow that tricks the EVM into thinking that we only feed it 9 arguments, and under the hood, it will transform one of them into 2. But it takes time, and it takes obviously gas. So we have to deal with it.
Of course. Thank you. I hope that answers the question. And another one was, will there be a strongly simplified DEX version of the absolute trading newbies? So a simplified version, maybe like on Coinbase, for example, where there's a version for professionals, another for more simplified for newbie users. Has that been thought about for Dex223?
I think that our main interface will be quite simple. The swap page, I mean, and all the advanced features and functionality will be separated. We will have just one simple UI for most of the users. I expect that like 80% of the users will only use the swap page. Advanced features include providing liquidity. Not everyone wants to provide liquidity. And those people who do want to provide liquidity, they are a little bit more experienced in crypto, I would say, in general. And a normal user will never end up in this page. And there will be a page for margin trading. There will be many pages for margin trading because you kind of have to manage borrowable funds. You have to execute swaps from margin trading orders differently. It will not look like a normal swap. But I will explain it with more details in the written report. I will provide some screenshots and explanations of how the user experience will look like. So answering the question, I think that we will only have a quite simple standard swap page, which will most likely look like Uniswap, and all the advanced features will be on separate page, and it will be sufficient.
Perfect. And well, that's great. I've been taking a look at the UI already. It looks very simple already. And another question from the community was to hear from other team members. So, for example, could we maybe have for the next monthly recap or others down the line, other members of Dex223 from the team to talk about their role in the project, how they work in their own field? Was that an idea that's been going around the team?
Well, I will ask the team. Maybe we can do it. I don't know what other team members will think about it. I need to ask.
Yeah, we won't force anyone. They are welcome to come if they want.
I'm currently speaking for the team, and honestly, I don't like to be a speaker that much, but someone has to do this, and I have the experience and understanding of all the areas of the project, and I can answer the questions. So that's why I'm here.
Of course. That's great. And one last question was from the encapsulated margin trading. So will this only be possible with the ERC-223 tokens, or can users also trade ERC-20 tokens with margin?
Users can trade any types of tokens with margin trading. The margin trading is quite an abstract technology, I would say. This means that the idea and the implementation of margin trading that we currently have is, in theory, compatible with Uniswap. And we can, with some very slight modifications, make our margin trading model work with Uniswap contracts as well. So if you will borrow the funds on Dex223 margin trading, it is possible that you will be able to make trades on Uniswap. In theory, we are not planning to implement it right from the beginning, but it is possible. And The difference between ERC20 and ERC-223 tokens is that a margin trading module can only execute direct swaps. It doesn't support routing, and for direct swaps, ERC-223 tokens are 40% more efficient. As I said and highlighted with the transaction hashes in one of my previous posts, we were able to achieve 40% gas optimizations with ERC-223 tokens. And this is quite critical for the margin trading because it will make only this type of direct swaps and in case of liquidation. How the margin trading will work in a nutshell. You borrow the funds, then you make some trades. If you trade well and the overall value of the funds locked in your position increases, it's fine. When the deadline comes, you close your position, you take your profit, that's it. If you make some unfortunate trade and the value of your position goes down, at some point you will be liquidated. This means that the funds currently stored in your position are equal to the funds that you borrowed and the interest rate. So it needs to be taken from you completely and delivered to the person that provided the funding that you took before. And this is called liquidation. And to execute the liquidation, you actually need to sell the tokens. And you need to sell all the tokens in the position. So if you borrowed Bitcoin and you bought Ethereum, Doge, and USDT with it, you need to sell all these assets to deliver Bitcoin to the person who provided the funds. And this needs to be executed through the swaps, and those are direct swaps, and all of them will take some gas. So this is why we are fighting so hard to make ERC-223 trades possible and optimize the exchange for ERC-223 trades, because this will increase the amount of funds that you can actually store and the possibility of successful liquidation of a position that needs to be liquidated. But answer the question, you can trade ERC20 tokens through the margin trading features of Dex223 without any problems, but it will take a lot of gas and there will be some limitations on it.
Another part of the question was how much leverage will be possible?
It depends on the people. We do not limit any leverages on our exchange. Most likely, we will not allow more than 100 in the UI, but technically, it completely depends on the ratio between the funds that are provided for borrowing and the collateral required. And both of these parameters are determined by the person who will provide the funds. So the lenders will determine the leverage that you can use with their funds.
Understand. And that was all from the communications we gathered around the different Telegram groups, around the different languages for Dex223. Maybe if you have some closing thoughts for this monthly recap for the community, and the next monthly recap will be even more dense with the margin trading discussions and all. But if you have some closing thoughts, you're welcome to go ahead.
Okay, so I will write a written report on 4th June, and here I will attach some documents and links and also screenshots that you can browse. You can also review this report, and I'll recommend to do this. Also, I'm encouraging our users to participate in the testing of the Dex223. Most likely, we will have a bug bounty program. It's not yet announced, but maybe it will be announced when the UI will go live. The contracts are already deployed and they are already live. So everyone is welcome to try what we are building.
Perfect. And for all the listeners, well, listening to this recording of the Twitter space down the line, you're welcome to join our Telegram to follow the news and participate in the testings. All the links are in the bio of the X account for Dex223, also on the website dex223.io. So go there and discover our many social networks where you can participate in the community. Thank you for having been with us. Yet another monthly recap with us, Dexaran. And we'll see you then at the next one to talk more about margin trading and much more. And everyone, take care. And Dexaran, thank you again.
Thank you, everyone.